The power of consciousness, transforming your life through energy and intention. What you are about to discover in this video will transform your perception of reality. After extensive research conducted by scientists, particularly drawing on the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, a renowned neuroscientist, we now understand what matter fundamentally is. Matter is the densest form of frequency because it represents the slowest and most condensed manifestation of light and information. While this may sound strange at first, everything will become clear as the video progresses. Please don't forget to subscribe and to hit the like button if you like our work. Thank you. To begin, let's go back to the source at an infinitely small scale, beyond matter, molecules, and atoms, where matter takes shape. All of this starts at the subatomic level in the quantum realm. Physicists discovered the quantum universe during their research into this subatomic world. Atoms, the building blocks of everything that exists in the physical universe, such as our bodies, water, air, and even food, consist of a nucleus surrounded by a vast field containing one or more electrons. This field is so large compared to the tiny electrons that it appears to be 99.9% empty. However, in reality, this space is not empty. It is filled with a vast array of energetic frequencies that make up an invisible, interconnected field of information. To give you a clear mental image, imagine that each atom, and thus every element of matter, is connected and permeated by a vast array of energetic frequencies, forming an invisible field of information. Therefore, everything in our known universe, even though matter appears solid at a human scale, is in reality 99.9% energy and information. Now, why do researchers speak of frequencies as if they were a vast network of information? Because all frequencies carry information. Take radio waves, for example. Right this moment, in the room where you are, some are moving around. If you turn on a radio, you can tune in to a specific wavelength or signal. Then a small transducer inside the radio will pick up the signal and turn it into audible, understandable sounds, allowing you to hear your favorite song, some information, or an advertisement. Similarly, when you pick up your phone and call your friend, you transmit the sound of your voice via frequencies. Essentially, frequencies carry information, and receivers, like radios or phones, receive and transcribe them, making them intelligible. Just because you cannot see radio waves in the air, or those from your phone, doesn't mean they don't exist or don't carry distinct information on a specific frequency. In the same way, if you slightly change the frequency and tune in to another station, you get a different message on that wavelength. Keep this principle in mind because you will see that the human body is no different. To understand this, let's go back to the subatomic level and look at how it works. Watch the image shown on the screen closely. If you take two atoms, each with its own nucleus, and bring them together to form a molecule, the overlapping zone between the two circles represents the light and the information they exchange. As a result, they share similar energy with a particular frequency. It's an invisible energy field that allows atoms to remain attached so that the molecule stays intact. Once the molecule has formed and the information is exchanged, the atoms change their properties and physical characteristics. For example, they might end up with a different density, boiling point, or atomic weight than they had when they were separate. It's important to note that once again, it's the invisible energetic field surrounding matter that determines the molecule's specific properties and that preserves its form and material structure. Molecules could not form without the exchange of information and energy. Now let's understand the complete process of how our body is created, from the subatomic level all the way to the human scale. That is, from energy to matter. When atoms come together and share energy and information, they form a molecule. This molecule is surrounded by an invisible field of light, made up of energy and information, which gives it the physical properties needed to stay united. When more atoms join this molecule, it becomes more complex and forms a chemical substance, also surrounded by an invisible field of light, granting it the physical properties to maintain its integrity. As additional atoms join the chemical substance, it becomes even more complex and can form a cell, surrounded by an invisible energetic and informational field that provides the necessary instructions for its functioning. Later, when multiple cells come together, they form a tissue, also surrounded by an energetic and informational field that allows for the cell's harmonious functioning. Then tissues come together to form an organ, likewise surrounded by an energetic and informational field that ensures its healthy operation. Continuing on, organs assemble to form a system always surrounded by an invisible field of light, giving it the physical properties conducive to preserving its functional integrity. Finally, these systems come together to form a body, surrounded by a luminous field that governs it. Thus, we see that the human body is actually 99.9% made up of frequencies and information. We now better understand the origin of numerous quotations, whether from Greek philosophers, the Egyptians, many physicists, or other modern thinkers. Nikola Tesla once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Albert Einstein also said that everything is energy, and that is all. There is no matter. Dr. Joe Dispenza often says that the frequency of your thoughts emits an electromagnetic wave that attracts events of the same frequency. Likewise, in many writings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, we see the statement, "Everything is energy, and this energy is a frequency." Or, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "What we think, we become." We find the same idea in China with the philosopher Lao Tzu, who said, "Look beyond your senses, perceive the invisible, listen to what cannot be heard, touch the unchanging. That is where truth is." We therefore understand that trying to comprehend the world only with our eyes is insufficient. We need to use our mind and go beyond our senses. Take a look at the following image, which represents the electromagnetic spectrum of frequencies. This figure shows the complete spectrum of electromagnetic frequencies, from the zero-point field, where frequency slows down until it becomes matter, all the way to higher energies. When energy increases or frequency speeds up, wavelength decreases. When energy decreases or frequency slows, wavelength increases. In the middle, in the space labeled visible light, we find the only band of reality we perceive with our eyes. We see that our eyes perceive only a tiny portion of visible light, less than 1% of all existing light frequencies, a very small part of reality. This means that most frequencies escape our perception, and therefore a large portion of reality cannot be detected by our senses. For example, we do not see X-rays, yet they certainly exist. We know this because we can create them as well as measure them. In fact, there is an infinite number of frequencies in the light spectrum. X-rays represent a faster frequency than visible light and therefore have more energy, because once again, the faster the frequency, the higher its energy. Ultimately, matter is the densest frequency because it is the slowest and most condensed form of light and information. Now let us return to the human scale and see how we, through our consciousness, can increase our vibrational frequency. First, remember this key concept. Energy flows where your attention goes. Wherever your attention is directed, your energy follows, and thus you transmit information there. And the information you send depends on your attention and your intention. For example, when you try to anticipate a stressful future event, you imagine it and direct your mental energy towards it with the intention of stress, which is a low frequency. So you're sending negative information toward that future event. Conversely, when you want to manifest a desired future, you need to do the opposite process. You need to vividly imagine that desired future with full awareness and associate it with elevated emotions such as love, joy, or gratitude. In doing so, you send higher frequency information, providing the intention and energy for that event to manifest in your future. In fact, the formula for manifestation is always the same, and Dr. Joe Dispenza explains it as follows: clear intention plus elevated emotion equals new energy. A clear intention is knowing exactly what you want to have as precisely as possible. For instance, if you want to meet a romantic partner or manifest a new job, you must hold a clear intention about it. Doubts are not allowed. Take the example of manifesting a new job. You must know exactly what you want this job to include, like earning more than 3,000 euros a month, being your own boss, loving what you do, and enjoying freedom. Once you have a clear intention and you can imagine and feel it, you then need to pair it with an elevated emotion, such as love, joy, or gratitude. An elevated emotion is the engine, the energy that carries your intention. Gratitude, for instance, is a powerful emotion because we tend to feel it after receiving something. Thus, it's the most open emotional state for receiving. By combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion, we manage to send an energetic signal that represents our attention and our intention to have that thing. Another principle for manifestation, contrary to what we might assume, is that we must embody now, in the present moment, the change we want to see in the future. Essentially, we have to do the reverse of what we generally do in life. We have to acquire something internally to manifest it externally. That way, we become a receiver aligned with the same frequency as the desired event, which draws it to us. It works the same way for creating romantic, friendly, or familial bonds, just like two atoms that come together to form a molecule and share energy and information. When two people feel the same emotions and energy and express the same thoughts and information, they form bonds. In both cases, the link is sustained by an invisible energy field. Since it takes energy to separate two atoms, we also need to use our energy and our consciousness to pull our attention away from people and situations in our lives to which we have given too much creative energy. Thus, just as two atoms bond to form a molecule, two people who share the same emotions, the same energy, and the same thoughts and information have created a bond. We see, therefore, that change must first happen inside of us before it can manifest externally. But before any interior change, you should know that if you do your work correctly, if you manage to bring your energy back to yourself, it's very likely that at the beginning, this will cause some unpleasant or even somewhat chaotic sensations. Be prepared because certain areas of your life may collapse. But if this happens, don't worry. That's how it's supposed to unfold. You are breaking the energetic links between yourself and a past that keeps repeating itself in a loop. So anything that is no longer in vibrational harmony and that stands in the way of your future will fall apart. Let it happen. Don't try to pick up the pieces, because the new destiny awaiting you will require a great deal of your focus. A very good example of this is the story of a friend of Dr. Joe Dispenza to whom this happened. That story is taken from his book, Becoming Supernatural. One day, this friend, who was a vice president of a university, went before a board of directors about 3 weeks after beginning a meditative process with Dr. Joe Dispenza. He was an essential figure at the university, loved by both students and staff. But that day, they fired him. He called Dr. Joe Dispenza and said, "You know, I'm not sure if this meditative process is working. I've just been fired. If I'm doing this work on myself, aren't I supposed to be attracting wonderful things?" Dr. Joe Dispenza told him, "Listen, don't cling to those survival emotions, or you'll stay stuck in your past. Stay in the present moment and keep creating." Within the next 2 weeks, he fell in love with a woman he later married. Not long after, he was offered a position at a much bigger, higher quality university, which he accepted gratefully. And later on, he even called Dr. Joe Dispenza again to say that the university that had fired him was now asking him to come back as president. The moral of the story is that you never know what the universe has in store when your past collapses and a new reality takes shape. But one thing Dr. Joe Dispenza insists on is that the unknown has never let him down, and that you must trust it. Let me know in the comments if this kind of change has happened to you and if you liked the video. If so, feel free to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you right away in the next video.